Jesus often went to the temple courts to teach. This particular day started early, and it appears that a sizable crowd had come to hear Jesus. As Jesus sat among them to teach, he was fully aware of the memorable events the morning would bring. However, those who had gathered to listen, as well as those who eventually approached him, would receive a surprising lesson they would likely never forget.
At dawn, Jesus appeared in the temple courts where all the people gathered around him,
Be still.
and he sat down to teach them. The teachers of the law and the Pharisees brought in a woman caught in adultery. They made her stand before the group.
The lesson that Jesus had planned for that day suddenly changed due to the arrival of these new learners, the Pharisees, and the woman who had been caught in the act of adultery. Little did they realize they would be the main object lesson for the morning. As the Pharisees rudely and boldly interrupted Jesus' teaching, they dragged in a woman who was likely ashamed, frightened, and humiliated. The woman was forced to stand in front of the entire assembly of people, including Jesus. Did they have to make her stand before the group because she attempted to hide in some way, maybe trying to collapse to a position in which she would not be so vulnerable? There was likely murmuring among the crowd, maybe some whispers in judgment of this woman, or conversation, trying to make sense of what exactly she was doing there. One thing is for certain, as the new players entered the scene, there suddenly developed an important and life-changing teachable moment.
Teacher, this woman has been caught in the act of adultery. In the law, Moses commanded us to stone such a woman.
So let's get this straight. The woman was being accused of adultery, and the Pharisees were ready to stone her. Yet the law clearly stated that both the man and the woman must die. Yet the Pharisees failed to bring forward the man, who would have also been a part of this sinful act. Let's face it, this woman had been set up, her sinful actions being used by these men for their own benefit and for Jesus' demise. Her sin was clearly evident. Their sin was seething. The plot was thickening.
Now, Jesus, what do you say?
They were using this question as a trap in order to have a basis for accusing him.
The Pharisees may have thought this would be the perfect place to put Jesus on the spot. For if they worded their accusations in just the right way and craftily formulated their questions, not only would his answers condemn him, but he would do so before this large crowd of followers. The Pharisees were not seeking justice. They were not concerned at this moment about upholding the law. Instead, they twisted the words of the law to suit their own purposes. If Jesus called for the stoning, he would violate the Roman law, which reserved capital punishment for the Romans to execute. If Jesus called for the woman's release, he would violate Mosaic law.
What do you say, Jesus? This woman is guilty. Should she not be stoned?
Jesus bent down and started to write on the ground with his finger.
Let the one among you who is without sin cast the first stone.
No one knows for certain what Jesus was writing, but whatever it was, it shook up the Pharisees. The religious leaders who were so confidently bent on shaming this woman and possibly stoning her just to trap Jesus soon realized that they had somehow fallen into their own trap. And so the tables were turned. Mosaic law called for the witnesses to throw the first stones in carrying out the death penalty. But Jesus' words stopped them in their tracks. The great lesson learned in this unusual temple talk was the realization that none of them were guiltless, and they were in no position to throw stones. They were well aware of this woman's sin, but woefully blinded to their own, until the teaching methods of the Master opened their eyes. But there is still more to the lesson.
At this, those who heard began to go away one at a time, the older ones first, until only Jesus was left, with the woman still standing there.
Woman, where have they gone? Has no one condemned you?
No. No, Master.
Then neither do I condemn you. Go, and do not sin again.
Jesus knew full well this woman was guilty. He didn't approve of her sin, and he instructed her to change her sinful habits. But he didn't condemn her for her sin. He forgave her. During this moment with the Savior, in the dirt and filthiness of her exposure, Jesus reached out to this woman with love and compassion and offered her undeserved grace and mercy. Is this not the second great lesson from the teacher on this day in the temple court? Jesus hates the sin, but he loves the sinner. He loved the Pharisees, he loved the woman, he loved the crowd. He loves you. His relentless love reaches, his loving hand extends. He says to us all, I do not condemn you. Now go and sin no more.